In this video, I'm going to be solving questions on IXL 8th grade, I.8, graph proportional relationships and find the slope. So first of all, let's remember the proportional relationships. In all these kind of questions, you're going to see that there is a proportional relationship between y and the x value. So you're going to see a graph below. So a proportional relationship is in the form of, the equation is in the form of y equals k times x. So what is k? K is the constant of proportionality. So whenever you divide the y value by the corresponding x value, you're going to get the constant of proportionality. And the second thing that we need to remember is the graph of proportional relationships. First of all, the graph will always pass through the origin, which is 0, 0, okay? It's also the center of the coordinate plane. So the graph will always pass through the origin, and it's gonna be a straight line, okay? It's gonna be a straight line. So all these graphs are proportional graphs. So we're going to look at the example, and we're going to look at the data that we have, and then we're going to try to find the equation. We're going to try to find the value k, the value of k, and then we will also try to find the slope. And actually, the slope is k in proportional relationships. Once again, if the slope is the question, then you're going to find the k, which is the constant of proportionality. Divide y by x. The k is always slope of the proportional graphs. Okay, so let's look at this example. I'm not gonna read the entire question, but I'll see. I'm gonna read the important part. For example, it says we have to figure out the x and the y first. Okay, so let's start with x. X is the side, the side length of the square in inches. Okay, this is x. And let me just, the side length of the square in inches, it's x. And what is y? The perimeter of the square in inches, the perimeter of the square in inches. And then we also have a data that given here. She finds the perimeter is always 4 times longer than the side length. So for example, if the side length is 1, then the perimeter is going to be 4 times 1, which is 4, right? When x is equal to 1, y is going to be 4 for this example, because it says the perimeter is y. So the perimeter is always 4 times longer than the side length. So the side length is x. So if the side length is 1, then the perimeter is going to be 4 times 1, which is 4. If the side length is 2, then the perimeter is going to be, we multiply this by 4 because it says 4 times longer. It's going to be 8. Okay, so let's just put these points on the graph. So I'm gonna plot these points on the graph. So let me first erase these two. Okay, so now, so x is equal to, when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 4, which is 1 comma 4, this point, right? 1 comma 4. And when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 8. X is equal to 2, y is equal to 8. This is 2 comma 8. And now I'm gonna graph this. So you see, if I choose this point, it's just passing through the origin, and it's also passing through 1 comma 4, and it's also passing through 2 comma 8. So what is the slope in this example. What is the slope? The slope is always k value, which is y divided by x. And y divided by x is always 4. You see? K is equal to y divided by x, which is 4 divided by 1. We are dividing the corresponding value of x, okay? 4 divided by 1, or 8 divided by 2. 8 divided by 2, which is always 4. So the slope is equal to 4. Scroll down and I'm gonna write what is the slope of this line. It's 4, and then I'll submit. And now let's see another example. Let me clear all this and let me scroll down. Just a minute. Okay, so let me scroll down. All right, first of all, let's look at this example, this information. What is X? The number of mines Felix built. Okay, it's X. And what's Y? The number of gems he earns. Okay, so what's the number of mines? Let's try to find the number of mines. For each mine he builds, it's in this sentence, as you can see. So whenever you see a word like every, each, whatever, you're going to say that X is equal to 1. As you can see one more time, X is the number of mines Felix builds. So Felix earns 5 gems for each mine he builds. So X is going to be 1 because it says for each mine he builds. So X is going to be 1. And X is going to be 1. So when X is 1, Y is going to be equal to 5 because Y is the number of gems he earns. Y is going to be equal to 5. So I'm going to use this information to draw my graph. All right, so I'm going to use this information. It's going to pass through the origin because it's a proportional graph. And then when X is equal to 1, Y is equal to 5. And what is the value of K? What is the slope? It is Y divided by X. So 5 divided by 1 is 5. So the slope is going to be 5. And let's submit. Let's look at this example. Okay, so first of all, we have to figure X and Y out. What is X? Let's see this. The distance Ben flies. The distance is X, and the amount of fuel his plane uses. So the distance is X. Let's try to find the distance here. So Ben's plane uses 2 kilograms of fuel for every kilometer he. So you see, we saw this every. Whenever we see ever like every, we are going to be using 1. Okay, so when X is equal to 1, and what is Y? Y is the amount of fuel. So that's 2 kilograms, 2 kilograms. So Y is equal to 2. X is equal to 1, Y is equal to 2. I'm going to be using this information in my graph. So let's scroll down. When X is equal to 1, Y is equal to 2, and I'm going to connect this to the origin. This is the graph. As you can see, it passes through origin, and it's also going through 1 comma 2 because X is 1, Y is 2. And then the K will be, which is the slope of proportional graphs. K is slope, so that's going to be Y divided by X. Y divided by X will be 2 divided by 1, which is 2. So the slope will be 2. And now let's look at the next example. So first, let me just clear the drawings. All right, 1 second. Okay. And now, let's look at the question first. X is the age of Lucy's apple tree. And the Y is the height of the tree. So let's try to find age in this sentence. Lucy's tree grows at a rate of 1 foot per year. So once again, whenever you see a word like every, each, per, then X is gonna be 1, or whatever that is. Well, that may be why, uh, based on this definition, it says the age of Lucy's apple tree is X, and it says per year. So per year, so that's gonna be the age, right? So X is gonna be 1. And what is y? The height of the tree. So Lucy's tree grows at the rate of 1 foot. 1 foot. You see, 1 foot is going to be y. So y is going to be, look, x is going to be 1 year, and y is going to be 1 foot. And now let's use this information to draw our graph. First of all, it's gonna pass through 0, 0. So you see x for years and y for feet. So 1 year, 1 foot. This is gonna be a point on the graph. And then what's the slope of the line? It's y over x will be the slope, y divided by x. For proportional graphs, 1 over 1 is 1. So the slope is gonna be 1. Let's submit this, and then let's look at this example now. All right, first of all, let's see what x is here. So the x is the weight of the cans Dakota brings into the shop. The weight of the cans. And the y is the amount the shop pays Dakota. So the last month, the shop paid Dakota $1 for 2 pounds of cans. Okay, so once again, x is the weight of the cans Dakota brings into the shop. So x is going to be 2 here. X is 2. X is equal to 2 because 2 pounds of cans, because x is the weight of the cans Dakota brings into the shop. And y is equal to, the shop paid Dakota $1. Y is going to be 1. Now I'm going to use this information in my graph. In order to draw my proportional graph, I'm going to use this information. So when x is 2, y is 1, and then 0, 0, which is the center, the origin. The proportional graphs will pass through origin. What is the slope of this line? It's going to be y over x, which is k, the constant of proportionality. 1 divided by 2, 0.5. Okay, let's write 0.5. This is the slope of the line. Or you can also write 1 divided by 2. And next, clear all drawings. Okay. So now, when there are 10 copies, the stack is 1 millimeter tall. So let's try to find what x is here. What is the x? The number of copies in the stack. So the number of copies, there are 10 copies, so x is going to be 10. X is going to be 10. And the height of the stack. What is the height of the stack here? It is y, and it is 1 millimeter tall. When there are 10 copies, the stack is 1 millimeter tall. So I'm going to write y equals 1 divided by, y is equal to 10. Y is equal to 1 because it says the stack is 1 millimeter tall. Y is equal to 1. There are 10 copies. X is equal to 10 because X is the number of copies. And let's now use this to draw our graph, to construct our graph. So it's going to pass through the origin, and when x is equal to 10, y is going to be 1. Okay, this is the graph, and the slope of the line will be, once again, the proportional relationships will have the equation y equals kx. So k is equal to y divided by x. What is k in this case? Y is 1 and k is 10 and x is 10. So k will be 1 over 10, which is 0 0.1. So the slope will be 0 0.1 because slope of proportional graphs will be the value of k. So we are gonna write 0 0.1 here. And this was our last example about this topic. And I'm gonna end the video after submitting this.